I think when you talk about sports law, and here we are at a sports law center, hopefully one of the most prominent in the country and even in the world, you look for certain pioneers in the industry that become litigants and put their name on something that's bigger than them. There's a few people out there in sports law history. We know of the Kurt Floods and the John Mackeys, people like that. Well, here's one right in front of us, a pioneer that has attached his name to a major lawsuit against a major institution. Please give a warm welcome to Ed OBannon.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. You know, I will say this, Ed was really wanting to come out here from his home in Vegas, but has had some knee surgery lately. So while his knees are healing up, he's joining us through Skype. Ed, we really appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you guys.
Ed, tell us how you came to be the named plaintiff in Ed OBannon versus the NCAA. I'll let you have the floor and tell us all about it.
Wow. Well, it's kind of a story that I've told a few times. I was just at a friend's house, and his kid was playing a video game, and I saw my image, and I was actually pretty fired up. I gotta be honest. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was really cool. And when we got to talking, and he had mentioned that I didn't get paid on it, for my image.
So you saw the video game, and it's you.
Yes.
It's you on the screen.
It was, it was me. It was, my jersey number. The guy that was playing was tall, skinny, slim, I should say, bald-headed, black guy, and I was, and he was left-handed. And the thing that tipped it off, his jumper kept going in a basket, and I just knew that was me. And so, but anyway, I initially, like I said, I was pretty fired up about it, and then he had said, about not getting paid, and I said to myself, here I am. I think I was 37 at the time, or 36 at the time, and I kind of just said to myself, man, I've been out of school for 15 years, and they're still profiting off of my image. But I just, for me, it was kind of a chalk it up as, a part of the game, about the part of the system, I should say. And really kind of just forgot about it. I didn't really think about it too much after that. And then I got a phone call from an old friend who I had ran into recently at the time, Sonny Vaccaro. And he had mentioned, we were just kind of touching base, and which we did every so often. And he had mentioned that he was thinking about, starting a lawsuit against NCAA. And I told him about my recent experience. I said, wow, it's funny you say that, because I recently saw my image and my teammates' image on this video game. And he says, he's thinking, wow, we could add that to the lawsuit if you want. And I just initially was like, I don't know how much sense that makes, but, I'll play the game. And so that's really kind of how it was introduced to me. And he told me, he says, look, there's a number of guys that I'm trying to get in contact with to be the lead plaintiff. You're one. Talk it over with your wife, weigh your options, that sort of thing, and give me a call. And so a day or two later, after talking with my wife and my family, we decided that we would be a part of the lawsuit. So that's really kind of how it started for me. Long story. Didn't mean to give you the long version, but that's really kind of how it happened for me.
No, it's a great story.
The beginning, anyway.
And did you process at the time what that actually meant with Sonny Vaccaro in terms of, hey, how you doing? In terms of
Sorry.
what it meant?
Kids going to school, I'm sorry.
Oh, we all send them off well, okay?
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you process what it meant to be a litigant, a plaintiff against the NCAA with so much power? Here we are on Final Four weekends, so much strength in the industry of sports, not only college sports. Did it ever you ever sort of lie in bed or walk around one day and say, wow, that's my name up against the NCAA?
Initially when this was introduced to me and my wife, they said lawyers and Mr. Vaccaro and others that were involved said, your name is going to be a part of this. It's going to be attached to this, and it's going to be in your name. It's going to be, bigger than you, bigger than anything that you've been a part of. Just know that it's a good thing. You're helping to bring about change, possibly. And I didn't really process it at the time when I initially heard it. And it's still, at this moment, still kind of hard to, it's weird to see my name on it, because every now and then someone will say to me, the OBannon case, blah, blah, blah. And I'll kind of sit back and say, well, that is my last name. I guess they're talking about what I'm a part of. It doesn't seem like, it almost, it's when you hear it, it's like there's a title and then there's my last name. And it's funny, it's weird to kind of combine the two. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but, I'll even talk to my lawyers and they'll say, yes, something, OBannon versus NCAA. And I'll say, his name's Sathi. I say, well, Sat, are you talking about me? And he's like, and it's, the two just doesn't seem to kind of match for me. It's weird, but I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly.
No, very well.
But it's weird to see my name on it, I don't know. I just it's kind of weird, I guess.
So talk a couple minutes about the case itself. What you were going after is compensation for use, as you saw in your video game when you sat at your friend's house, for your name, for your image, and for your likeness. Take us through the twists and turns of the case, and sort of you've had a swing of emotions in watching it all go through.
Absolutely. I think, the biggest thing for me, my wife and I, we almost kind of trained ourselves initially to not expect much, A, and B, understand that we are in the front line of this. And there's going to be, when a system is one way for so long, and everyone's used to a certain way of doing business, and then change all of a sudden comes, or the possibility of change comes, there will be, I don't know if venom is the word, but it'll be hard to change. And we understood that. We also understood that, this is going to be a long and tedious process, and not to expect anything right away, whether it's change, whether it's anything. You know, I always say it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you know, you kind of train yourself to understand those things, be available when needed, and not necessarily let this lawsuit run your life. And that's for us. That's how it is. It's always been since day one. We always knew that, and we always understood it, and didn't expect anything from it, financially, or any kind of credit or anything. I've always wanted to, and I've always said that. For me, it's always been a way to spark conversation. I personally never or sought anything from this. It's always been a way to really spark conversation, and really kind of, you know, if you see something that you think, me personally, if I see something that I think needs to change, then I'm going to do what I can to at least spark conversation so that the possible change can come. And this is one of those situations. So me personally, my wife and I, you know, since day one, I know when we first started, it was our side, my wife and I, our side was getting EA Sports to at least acknowledge that what they were doing was wrong, and that is to take the image of athletes and use it without their consent. Never mind paying the players, but even without their consent. And that was one of the things that I said to my friend when he mentioned that that I didn't get paid. Was I looked at him and I said, man, and they didn't even ask me for my image. You know, never mind getting paid, but they didn't even ask me. Even if they called and said, hey, Ed, you know, we want to use your left hand and your bald head to put on this video game, I would have been like, you know, hell yeah, let's do it, you know. But I didn't even get a phone call, and that's what, you know, that was my biggest thing. You know, talk to me, communicate with me, and we can get something done. And there wasn't even any communication. So that's where my side of the story was. And then it kind of grew into, you know, fighting the NCAA, and then it got bigger and beyond my dreams, and from what I understand, even bigger than Mr. Vaccaro's dreams. But, you know, that's kind of where I am.
Yeah, and I think that really humanizes it for us. And I think we should clear up the misconceptions, as you have many times. This is not a pay-for-play lawsuit, and this is not about getting athletes paid, and we talk about big business of NCAA, especially this weekend. This was all about what you said, name, image, likeness, consent, and eventually making some compensation for their use of that. We had Jeffrey Kessler in these seats last year. He's got a lawsuit which is more about, again, pay for play, but that's not what this is about. And this is a name, image, and likeness NIL lawsuit, and it's now on petition to the United States Supreme Court. Tell us where you are right now with it, as it moves towards, and for the Cliff Notes version, the Court of Appeals has agreed that this continues to be an antitrust violation. However, they have not allowed stipends, simply the cost of attendance, to be going to athletes, which a lot of the bigger schools already do. So as it moves for consideration by the United States Supreme Court, you're just following it through your lawyers. How are you feeling now as it reaches perhaps its conclusive phase?
I feel pretty good. We have sent our paperwork and our petition to go to the Supreme Court. We are at this moment waiting on word back from the NCAA and their participation in this phase, and hopefully we'll hear back from them in the next couple weeks. But you know, there's somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Hopefully it's not a train. You know, I think it's been, again, a long, hard road in one way or another, whether it be emotionally or, you know, for some people financially. I think at this moment, again, we're waiting for word back from the NCAA and what they're going to do. But you know, we're happy, we're excited on our end. I think the biggest thing is to stay positive, like we've always been. I know my wife and I, you know, we will continue to raise our family in the same way we've been doing. This hasn't changed our lives in one way or another, but we have continuously been positive, and you know, we're just again, we're trying to stay very simple, very basic, and living our lives as if none of this happened. It's been, I wouldn't say it's been hard, but it's been a challenge. But right now, you know, we've sparked conversation, and that has been my biggest thing. You know, there have been small changes, whether it's been athletes getting paid, you know, with the cost of attendance, or you know, they'll get an extra meal here and there. You know, maybe they will get paid while they're in school. Maybe they'll get you know, an account set up for them, and then they can get whatever they're owed once they graduate. You know, there's many different ways this lawsuit has turned, but you know, we're excited. At this point in time, we're excited, and we're positive. And yes, it's eventually going to conclude, and it'll be soon. Hopefully, it'll end in a positive for both sides. You know, I've always said that I think that there should be and is a happy medium somewhere, and hopefully we can reach that.
And as you mentioned, you have sparked change. I mean, there are families being taken care of travel-wise at the Final Four this weekend, maybe not directly, but very indirectly related to you. There's stipends going out, there's cost of attendance, there's food increases, as you know. You've been a pioneer. You have paved the way for many others, even though there is no conclusion already. So we salute you, Ed. And thanks for being with us, and go Villanova. I hope you feel that way tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's the right answer.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good luck this weekend, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you again,
right.
Ed OBannon, one more time. Thanks so much.
Thank you all.